Hello guys, welcome to my new video, and today we're gonna talk about the next election in New York, the New York mayoral election. And many people are now saying a lot about the election because of Zohran Mamdani, the candidate won the Democratic primary in July. In June, and many people are saying or are giving an opinion about this election because Zohran Mamdani is, according to him, a democratic socialist, and that makes a lot of pain for many billionaires, and not only that, but people that are affection with the Democratic Party, and those don't want him to be president. The ultra wealthy are they are putting money into Andrew Cuomo candidacy. We're going to talk about that later, if that is great or not, in the chances of defeating Zohran Mamdani. I'm trying to be as impartial as I can be, but I'm just going to say it quite outline. I'm not a fan of Zohran Mamdani policies. I'm more kind of a Democrat. I'm kind of a Democrat, not a full Democrat, but I would say a more liberal Democrat, but not liberal in terms of social issues. I'm not as liberal as many as AOC or as Zohran Mamdani, but I'm kind of a Andrew Cuomo side here, even though he has a lot of scandals. I'm not saying I'm like Andrew Cuomo. I'm just saying, as an average Democrat, I'm like that. So I'm just gonna say this. So my opinion, even though I'm trying to be unbiased as possible, it can also be biased because we are all biased, and I think that's a great statement to make before I'm going to say my opinion about this. I think Zohran Mamdani is going to win the election. The betting odds are saying 80% of chance that he's going to win. Honestly, I think he's going to win, but I don't think he's going to be great for the city as a whole. But that will be another point. I'm just saying that I think, with almost 99% chance of happening, that Zohran Mamdani is going to win. Because look, this was the results of the Democratic primary election in June, and he won in a landslide. I'm just saying a landslide because the polls were showing a very close race for the first round results between Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo, and many polls actually mentioned that Andrew Cuomo was actually going to win the first round, at least the first round, and actually this was a terrible performance by Andrew Cuomo, and also by the establishment, because here Andrew Cuomo is the establishment Democrats, and he failed miserably, especially right here in Manhattan. He should have won Manhattan. He lost Manhattan by 5, and that was part of why he lost the election. And he also got destroyed in Brooklyn, in Queens, and he actually did not get a huge win in Staten Island, as you can see here, only 46-38. I'm saying only because this should be 50 plus for Andrew Cuomo, and it wasn't. So this was a part of why Zohran Mamdani won the election, because he forced so many early votes, record numbers of early voting, also record numbers in terms of the election. Look at this, 1 million votes, almost 1.1 million votes. And as you can see, I think in 2021, the primary, I think it was 700,000 or something, or even for 800,000. I'm not so sure about that number either, but I'm just saying that we saw an increasing turnout here, and that is very great for democracy, but also very great for Zohran Mamdani here also. And what is most interesting right now is that the polls right now, this is RCP, are saying that Zohran Mamdani has 35%, 23 for Andrew Cuomo, and 18 for Curtis Silva, and Adams with 12%. This is a very interesting situation, but I'm just gonna say Cuomo, Adams, and Silva running all at the same time with Zohran Mamdani, that is basically a recipe for disaster. And one of them, or one of the three, they need to give up. At least 2 out of 3. I would say 2 out of 3. It's the biggest, the most interesting number here, because if 2 out of 3 give up, we only have one, and then the one probably gonna win against Mamdani. But that's a very another question, because of course the incumbent mayor Adams will Eric Adams, he's not gonna quit the race because he's the incumbent mayor. And I know strategically for the Democrats, nationwide, and also for the, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, in the good faith of the New York future, I think Zohran Mamdani should not be elected mayor, but right now the situation tells he will be. And because Cuomo is a disaster, he lost by a landslide the primary. Now he's trying to win the race, but he won't win. And that's a very important question. Why is he stealing votes from Silva or even from Adams? And Silva can't win either. So why not Cuomo and Silva quitting the race and let Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor, and Zohran Mamdani in the fight, and probably Adams will be the successful one there? That's a very great question because this is in a time of, if I am a Democrat right now, I would say, okay, I don't want to vote for Andrew Cuomo because he has a lot of scandals. Okay, I'm not going to vote for the incumbent mayor because, according to polls, he has done a terrible job. Okay, and I'm not going to vote for Zohran Mamdani because I have some knowledge of economics and I know his plan is going to destroy the New York City, in all ways. Okay, I'm not going to vote for a Republican. Okay, so I'm not going to vote. And that's the problem here. Many Democrats don't have a choice in this election. The average Democrat, because they don't want to go with the incumbent mayor, they don't want to go to the scandals, the Andrew Cuomo scandals, they don't want to go with a Republican. I don't want to go with a crazy communist. And the problem is that you come to an election where you don't have a choice. You don't have someone saying, I'm the best option here. Of course, Zohran Mamdani is telling that, but I don't believe him. I don't agree with him. His policies are a disaster. And I'm just going to say an example after we see this poll. So this is basically the decision desk averages in all the polls, and Zohran Mamdani 38, 2500 Cuomo, 15 and 12% for Eric Adams. And that's another interesting situation. You go to the average. Andrew Cuomo was the favorite for a many long time, and now it came Zohran Mamdani's basically impulse and a campaign, and he did a very great campaign. Even though I don't agree with him in like 99% of the situations here, I think he did a very great campaign. That's why he won by this margin. And now let's talk about the Zohran Mamdani plan for New York City. So he wants to tax billionaires even more. He can't do that. He needs to ask the state. Will the state of New York increase tax on the 1%? If if they do that, that's another question. Probably the rich people, they don't have problems. They're gonna move to another state, Florida, Texas, where they have lower taxes. People are saying, oh, but that's not gonna happen. Oh, but it is happening at the moment. New York City has a huge amount of people, ultra wealthy, that are right now leaving the city to another state. What do you mean? Florida and Texas. Those are the two Republican states, but they have a lot of ultra wealthy people coming there because they have lower taxes, lower than California, than New York, than Illinois, and all the Democratic states as a whole. And that's a very powerful question. Zohran Mamdani needs money for his plans. His plans cost a lot of money, like putting buses free, freezing rents. That's just bullshit. But let's just come over with. He needs a lot of money. And if he's going to increase in the top 1%, if he does that, which is not 100%, he will do that, he's probably going to have a lot of problems in terms of having revenue. What I mean by this, people will leave the state. And right now, even with avoiding a lot of taxes, with loopholes and everything, the rich people pays a lot of taxes in New York. It's the majority of the taxes are paid by the 1%. So if those people leave the city, New York is in a big trouble, and probably Zohran Mamdani's plan is just going into debt, probably, because he will not have a chance. Another question, rent freezings, which Zohran Mamdani is saying that he was going to do because people can afford a home. That's true, people can afford a home, but that's not the point is not freezing rents, because that is not going to work. We saw that in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and that didn't work. We also saw that in Barcelona, in the Catalonia region, Spain, that didn't work as well. And we see this multiple times around the world, also in Argentina. Now Milei came there. Basically, he said, I'm gonna just destroy this bullshit, this left bullshit. I'm gonna just liberalize the market, and now the prices are down, rent prices are down 30%, more people putting the house into the market, into a legal market, because this, while you freeze rents, you basically are saying two things. The people are not gonna rent because they don't want to have they want to have put like two people there with a smaller price, because they're still paying the imagine they're still paying the house to the bank, the mortgage to the bank, and they need that money to pay the mortgage back and still have a profit, because that's the way the housing market works also. And some people are gonna stay with people there, but they're gonna put the house into a illegal market, I would call that way, a dark web like that, and they're gonna put the house with a huge price, even higher, because people need houses, even though they are 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, they need houses. And that's the main point here. You're gonna have less houses in the market, that will increase even more prices, and then it's gone. All the Zohran Mamdani campaign is focused on affordability. His plan is total opposite of affordability, because his plan is gonna basically destroy New York City in all terms. I know this doesn't sound great, because PACs and many ultra wealthy are putting money into Andrew Cuomo so he can win, but he will not win, and Zohran Mamdani is going to win, and that's probably a problem for the Democratic Party in 2026 midterms, because in 2026, after this first months of the destruction of basically of New York City, the Democrats are going to have a lot of problems because of that. And that's not a question for another video, but still, that's a very important question. If Zohran Mamdani wins, or better, when he wins, what's going to be the problem nationwide for the Democratic Party? And if he wins, what he's going to do, because he's probably going to have enough power or enough political force to go to Albany and ask the state to increase tax on the ultra wealthy, and he's probably not going to do that, because the Democrats are not going to get, they don't want to get destroyed in the next year's elections in the midterm year, especially after all the redistricting talk right now. That's a very important question for another video, so I hope you like this video, and see you in the next. Thank you.